going like that, all in your face, just all in your face, pubic hair all over the place.
Talk that, play everything.
What is going on, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome to Play Everything Now, and today we are talking about a movie that I saw. I've been playing a lot of Elden Ring, by the way, and that review is coming, but in between I took a couple breaks and I watched some cult favorites, you know what I'm saying? This one is called A Cruel Picture, thriller. This used to be called The One-Eyed Girl when it first came over to the US, but it was completely censored to the point where it was pretty much not the same film as the director intended it to be watched. And so they came out with another version, the uncut version, the thriller version, the Cruel Picture version, which inserted all of the uncensored things that should have been in the other one that we saw. Now, this is a 1970s film, revenge film, that also Quentin Tarantino talks about a lot, and I guess he likes this film, and I believe that Kill Bill was based off of this film. After I watched it, I kind of got the vibe. Now, this is, keep in mind, from the 1970s, so if you're unable to detach from the 2000 special effects, that we have, in the elaborate action scenes that are executed now, then you will completely hate this movie. And I must say that I was unable to detach my mind from how movies have evolved to watch this film. There's certain films, though, that are really good in the 70s, 60s. I'm not knocking it. I love all genres of films, all from all different ages of cinema. But this one in particular, I couldn't get down with it. Now, what is this about? Growing up mute after a childhood sexual assault, a young girl, Christina Lindbergh, spends years working on a remote farm. After missing the bus one day, she is picked up by a suave young man who takes her out to dinner, drugs her, and forces her into a life of prostitution. I don't know if I can say that on YouTube. Torn away from home, she rebels against her captor, only to have one of her eyes gouged out as punishment. After learning of the death of her parents, she secretly trains herself in martial arts, defensive driving, and gun use. Transformed into a one-woman killing machine with a sawed-off shotgun, she uses her new skills to enact bloody revenge on those who have done her wrong. Synapse Films is the presenter of this unrated version. You guys are like, oh, that sounds great. And it is an excellent story. Overall, a very depressing story. It's just cruel. Cruel picture. It really is cruel. And this company takes pride in the way they've delivered this, because I guess coming out in the 70s, they've shown her being drugged and kept dependent on these drugs in order to keep her in line to continue to give her body to strangers, involuntarily. And they show the needle going into the arm. And during these sex scenes, they show a little bit of softcore. They keep that in there, but then they cut away and get pornographic with it, where they show the woman's pee and the man's pee real close to the camera, just like this, going like that, all in your face, just all in your face, pubic hair all over the place, all in your face. And you're like, come on, you're doing too much here. They did a little too much. I think these things were just thrown into the film for shock value. It really didn't need to be that uncensored in that aspect. Don't get me wrong. If you were gonna do it, they should have went all out and just made it a porn. But they just threw it in. I think it was tasteless, honestly. But let's talk about Christina Lindbergh, the main actor in this film. I think she portrayed this young lady very good. You felt the weakness, but you also felt how strong she was and how she was going to overcome. You felt that because in a particular scene, there's another older lady there that's been in the life for a long time, and she's broken down, man. She's on her last legs, and she came into that room. I thought she was going to comfort the young girl, but she started to break down. And actually, the young girl, played by Christina, she was strong, and she comforted the older woman, which is amazing, because right then and there, you knew that this young girl wasn't going to stand for it. She was going to enact revenge on the captor, which was awesome. So how did she get away to do defensive driving, self-defense, and firearms? Well, the captor allowed her a day or so outside. I think it was one day to do whatever she wanted to do. So on the days where she had nothing to do, she made connections with another drug dealer where she can get her hair on from because she was hooked on it involuntarily. So she didn't need the captor for fixes anymore. So she was good when she left to get revenge. She can hold it all together. And this is the time that she utilized to get the self-defense and get the shooting and get the defensive driving. Oh, she is a bad one. And she played this role really good. She's the only shining light of this film. Everybody else's acting was complete trash. But she was good to watch, and the story overall was a good story, but it was poorly executed on the action part of it. And if you're doing a revenge film, then you know that action is an integral part of the film. Yeah, it's the 1970s, but yeah, we've seen martial art movies in the 1970s that were badass. So there's no reason why they couldn't get better with the action. So they tried to cover it up with a lot of slow motion. The better 75%, 80, 90% of the movie, the action was slow motion. It ruined the pacing of the film, and it became a drag slow motion fest. Terrible. Absolutely terrible. And you notice where the film could have went or could have been when you see later on in the 10% of the end of her revenge how they cut using the slow motion and they went to real time, and it was good. It had a nice little shootout, which was cool, but by then it was too late. You were already taken out of the film. The subject matter is dark. Definitely a dark film. It's a really depressing film. So if you're looking for a film that's a good time, it's not a good time, but it's real. And it's called an exploitation film because they're exploiting the circumstances of trafficking that is a real subject. So I'm kind of glad that they did show it as raw as they did, but it just could have been executed more on the action part and on the sexual part. If they really wanted to go there with the film, they could have did the pornographic part a little better, put more effort into it, put more back into that stroke there, boy. Something that you guys will be interested in. It depends. Do you enjoy going back and watching old films that may have influenced other revenge films and you want to see the beginning? Well, this is one of them. It's a cult classic for a reason because of its uncensored nature. It pushed the limits that nobody would push at that time. So that's what really made this film a cult classic. Doesn't mean that it was good, but bad films can be good because they're just that bad. And I think this film is just that bad that is good. With the shining light of Christina in there that, she did her thing. Is this film worth a watch? Yes, if you're into cult classics and you don't mind watching, the film or a film that may have inspired other revenge films. If you don't mind watching a film that was pushing the limits in the 1970s or way beyond the limits that it got itself banned, it's a cult classic, and not all cult classics are actually these masterpieces. They're more so a staple or a shock piece that left its mark. And that's what this film does. It does leave its mark on you, but I wouldn't say that it's a good film, so the shock that it got is just for the half-ass entries of pornography in there, which was, distasteful. It wasn't needed. If the subject matter of this film and how they did it in the 70s interests you, you can click the link in there and purchase this movie. It helps the channel out a lot. So at the end of the day, did I enjoy this film? I did not enjoy this film. The problem is, it's an older film where things that we've watched now have done it better. You understand me? So would you enjoy this film? Well, this film is not for everybody due to its nature, its uncensored nature. So I don't think everybody will appreciate that, because some people like things a little bit softer, PG, and this is not the film for you. It is a 1970 exploitation film that tries to push everything to the limit on purpose. Although distasteful, they put it in anyway. But the story subject matter is a real issue, so that I can appreciate. They wanted to present the trafficking as raw as they could, you know, and they just could have did better with the pornographic part. If they were gonna go that route pornographically, they should have just went all out and went pornographically and got an actor that was a porn star and just went all out and just did it. That's what they should have done. They should have cut out the slow motion, too much of it. That was a downer, ruined the pacing. Acting was terrible except for Christina. So I give this film a hard pass, but at the same token, I'm glad that I do own the film because it is a cult classic and I get what they were trying to do, but there is much better films out there than this B movie, uncensored, adult only film that only sold for shock value, in my opinion. So I'm honest with you guys. Like I said, I'm not gonna have you just purchase any piece of crap. But if you are interested in this film and you can find the little pieces of enjoyment that are in the film, because all of it is not terrible, but overall it's a pass, you can click the link in the description, buy it from my link. It helps the channel out a lot and allows me just to continue to bring you guys more videos and improve the channel. So be sure to hit the subscribe button, the like button, and that notification bell, and I will see you on the next video. Have a good evening. Peace.